Hello, 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 everyone, and welcome to Comics and Variety C&V Midday. I am your host, Doc Hogg, and just to start off the program today, some exciting news that Tilt 2 will be launching this evening right around 8 p.m. If you haven't signed up yet, do so, and you will still qualify for a free Tilt magnet with your purchase. If you do not sign up by around 8 p.m., well, you're going to be out of luck. You'll have to buy a magnet. I will be launching the comic book on Red Gaze's channel this evening. Again, around 8 p.m. I should be joined by my lovely colorist, Lenore King. So mark it on your calendar, or whatever else you need to do to be there. And going to be a lot of great backing tiers, original art that you can buy. You'll be able to get yourself drawn into issue 3, and of course all the regular tiers, digital, standard cover, variant cover, and of course you can buy both covers. Alrighty, so again, Tilt 2, you are in the waning hours of being able to sign up for it. So again, get your drop your email address into the box and hit the sign up button. Alrighty, let's move on. So I saw this earlier. This very I saw this through somebody's Twitter feed, and it's tragic. The enormous toll that this pandemic has taken. Sorry. And I feel for these people. I lost my grandmother just a short while ago, not to COVID, thankfully. But it was her time, and it was just it was awful. I had known her all my life, obviously, but 50 years, and it was just just terrible. So. At any rate, this was posted on Sue DeConnick's website, and what is her response to this? Well, as you watch and mourn, please recognize that the majority of these heroes are people of color and reflect on that. Boy, the race, gender, sexual orientation paradigm is strong with this one, isn't it? I don't know. I want to celebrate people's lives and mourn their loss. I'm not really interested in what the color of their skin was, or what their gender was, or what their sexual orientation was. I mean, that's all part of our life, I know, but when you're mourning you're mourning the people we lost in a pandemic, I mean, we're at the end of the day, we're all human. We're human, and that's what matters. That's what you should be reflecting on, not their the color of their skin. I mean, it just goes to show how far ingrained identity politics is in someone like Sue DeConnick. So is it any wonder then that her she told us to she told us this a while back.
And if you don't like my politics, don't buy my book. Problem solved. You don't like my Twitter feed? Unfollow me. Magic.
Well, regarding not buying your comic book, there's Captain Marvel. Yeah, people weren't buying it, and people weren't buying it because you were shoving your politics in there. Of course, what she's doing here is she's obfuscating a little bit. We're talking about shoving your politics into a comic book, and she. Of course, comes up with the usual SJW justification for it earlier in this interview, saying, well, politics has always been in comics. The 1970s were loaded with them. Well, I read a fair number of comics in the 1970s, and now maybe I didn't recognize it when I was a kid, but I've gone back and read quite a few of those issues on like Marvel's online site and DC's online site, and I don't remember a whole bunch of politics being shoved in there. Now, occasionally there are political themes put in comic books, but you kind of have to handle that deftly. You have to be you want to try to give both sides their due, even if you are taking a position, and you have to focus on the story, not pushing an agenda at the expense of the story. That has always been Comicsgate's criticism of a lot of mainstream comics. Not that we can't stand the politics of Kelly Sue DeConnick, although granted, I've got no use for them. But if she wrote a good comic book and the politics were a little more subtle in them, fine. But if you're pushing characters where all the women are always intelligent and the men are always stupid bumblers, there's all this emotional validation. All the female characters have to be STEM superheroes, science, technology, engineering, and math superheroes, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Well, yeah, at the end of the day, people don't buy them, and of course, she again obfuscates the issue, tries to shift it about. Hey, if you don't like my politics, don't buy the book. Well, it's about how you handle politics in a comic, and it's about not trying to constantly shove your agenda in every single page that you write. Bitch Planet, her comic book, does not work the same in a comic book like Captain Marvel. So at any rate, okay. Well, I just give you a sense here of how far identity politics is ingrained in Kelly Sue DeConnick, as if you needed more evidence, but here you go. If you're going to mourn people who died from the pandemic, well, focus on them. How many of them are people of color? All righty. Okay, one last thing. This is going to be a quick one today because I do have quite a bit of stuff I got to take care of before I launch. Oh boy, I want to click on this link right here, and I can't. Die in a fire. Twitter employees reveal deep hatred for Trump. Okay, not a surprise, but the tweets are running the asylum. Twitter's senior executives have a long history of anti-Trump hatred, a post-review of dozens of accounts of top employees found. Excuse me. The venom vitriol in some cases vows to help Joe Biden across the finish line in next month's presidential election continue to live online, as the company earlier this week decided to censor the New York Post's revelations about Hunter Biden's emails to a consultant for the Ukrainian energy company Burisma. Get him out, posted a senior site reliability engineer on August 18th, referring to Trump. What an effing baboon. One manager with almost 9 years on the job said he was quite keen to watch Biden crush Trump in the election. Okay, that's not a big deal. And that he hoped the president would be utterly humiliated while also suffering greatly from the Mexican beer virus. In another post, he fantasized about the president being put on a ventilator. Calls Trump an effing idiot, and the voters who elected him hysterically effing stupid people. At the same time, the employee has been a consistent cheerleader of his company's efforts to rein in the president on the platform and curb the spread of misinformation. Yeah, it's nice to have, relatively objective, unbiased people handling that at Twitter, right? I'm really proud of how quickly we've worked to make this possible for the U.S. elections, he wrote. Others publicly wish the president harm. One Twitter engineer said Trump should die in a fire. In a January 2017 tweet. A year later, he rang in the new year by saying, "Happy 2018, Donald Trump is dead." Surprise, none of these comments have ever been flagged by Twitter or been subject to any other form of official sanction, even as the social media giant dishes out discipline to others for sharing legitimate news stories that might hurt Biden, and shipping out discipline to lots of people. If you quote unquote dead name people or stuff like that involves transgender, dead naming, and I always forget the other one, misgendering. I'm sorry, which I got flagged for supposedly doing to Mags Visaggio, although I didn't actually do it, but I had my Twitter account suspended for 4 days for that. Thank God it didn't happen in the middle of my my first comic book campaign, and God willing, it won't happen this time. Anyways, the company finally ordered the vicious tweet to be deleted on May 29, years after being posted. A consistent theme among employees is a desire to see Trump defeated. A talent brand manager cried after Trump was elected president and publicly vowed to oppose him. After a fly landed on Vice President Mike Pence's head during his debate with Senator Kamala Harris on October 7, the Twitter Veep noted crudely that flies are drawn to SH. One woman who has worked at Twitter since 2012, with her only career interruption being a 4-month stint as a data analyst for Hillary Clinton's 2016 campaign. She boasted how her husband twice sued the Trump administration. Et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Ad hominem jabs toward Trump and his administration were commonplace among Twitter's longtime ranks. The company's global creative partnership head has called Trump swine, et cetera, et cetera. Spreading lies about the Trump family is also not beneath Twitter's sentinels. A senior staff manager inquired why the media wasn't looking into Melania Trump's possible stint as a sex worker. The First Lady denied this allegation and successfully sued over it. Twitter's head of integrity, Yoel Roth, was infamously busted over a series of old tweets revealing him to be a diehard Trump hater. This is the guy they're putting in charge of integrity at Twitter. In his post, Roth, who helped author the policy update by the company to flag and label posts from President Trump, compared White House officials to Nazis and Trump to a racist tangerine. Conservative critics who have long complained of Twitter's systemic bias against Republicans were not surprised. Quote, "It doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure out why they only selectively enforce these rules. It's because the people who work there all believe the same things," GOP strategist Chris Barron told the Post. "A liberal verified account never has to pay a price for advocating violence." That is largely true. This is the response that we got from Twitter. "We do not hire based on political beliefs and completely support our employees' right to express themselves and support the causes they care about," Twitter's chief human resources officer, Jennifer Christie, said in a statement to the Post. "Our employees are professionals, and we require them to bring objectivity to their work, regardless of their personal views." Anybody believe that?
You serious? You serious?
All righty, that's enough for today. Thank you very much for joining me for this brief midday CNV. And I will be live on the Red Gaze program again this evening. Red Gaze right here. Right around 8 p.m. Eastern Time. And I will, of course, at that time be launching Tilt 2. So thank you very much and have a very nice day.